Long before names were given to gods or kings, the stars watched in silence. Each constellation a myth etched in flame. Among them lies Draco, a serpent of starlight whose children descend not as flesh and blood, but as machines, powered by the brilliance of the heavens. This is the story of the Drytrons. It's a story that, for me, started not in the stars, but at the edge of curiosity. I've long gravitated toward rogue decks, and as Drytrons drifted out of the meta spotlight, I found myself drawn in by their design. As I began to unravel the subtle details of the deck, I became intrigued by a few things. For one, I never would have guessed that we didn't see our first machine-type ritual monster in Yu-Gi-Oh! Until the release of 2020's Genesis Impact. This archetype also introduced a ritual spell that breaks tradition, executing summons based on attack points instead of on level. It was a small shift, but one that deepened my curiosity, especially when combined with their names. If you've seen any other videos on this channel, you know Konami hides layers of meaning in names, and the Drytrons are no exception. Fortunately, Konami provided us with a perfect starting point in the valuable book EX2, with a small but significant piece of official lore. Autonomous dragonoid weapons that fly through the depths of outer space powered by starlight. Each machine has a built-in condensed energy core, and how much power it has is based on how brightly it shines. These two sentences offered a spark, but it was Draco, the dragon in the stars, that would light the path forward. My hunt for answers had only just begun. The Drytrons are themed around the Constellation of Draco, with each of the monsters dubbed after the stars making up the constellation. This is evidenced by their names. Each non-ritual Drytron bears a Greek letter and a traditional Arabic name, a fusion of the scientific and mythic gaze humanity has cast upon the night sky. We begin with Alpha Thuban. Once the North Pole star, Thuban guided age-old adventurers between the 4th and 2nd century BCE, holding steady in the northern sky as the world slowly turned beneath it. Its name, translating to dragon or great serpent, sits at the heart of the Drytron mythos. Appropriately, in the artwork we see it suspended ahead of the glowing light of the serpent's tail, still anchoring the northern heavens. From the tail, we move to the head. Beta Rastaban, head of the serpent, marks the tip of Draco's gaze. Unlike Thuban, it lacks cosmic centrality, but compensates with position, one of the eyes watching silently from above. Now in Drytron form, it burns with intense energy, perhaps a warning to those who meet its gaze. Gamma Eltanin, the great serpent, deepens Draco's mythic identity. Gamma Draconis once puzzled astronomers with its unusual motion, appearing to wobble in the night sky. This strange behavior may have inspired the massive boosters on Eltanin's shoulders, a nod to the star's wandering path. Then comes Delta Alteus. Unlike its siblings, its name diverges from the serpent theme. Alteus means the goat, a recollection of a time before the serpent claimed the skies. Its quadrupedal form reflects this older vision, a star once interpreted as desert livestock by the observers of the sands below. Alteus carries a secret message. Among dragons, ancient memory lingers. As we reach Zeta Alhiba, the mythology takes an unexpected turn. Long before the serpent was drawn in the sky, Arab astronomers saw something else here, the protecting mother camels, an asterism depicting a caravan of camels guarding a newborn foal from predators. Alhiba, meaning the wolf, stood threatening the herd. As time passed, the vision of the stars changed, and with them, so did Alhiba, once a fierce predator, now a protector. Finally, we reach Nu 2, the only Drytron to break the naming pattern. It lacks the Arabic name carried by its comrades, but even in absence, Kuma still resonates through history. It forms one half of a double star, orbiting its twin, Nu 1. In Drytron form, this duality persists. Twin cannons, a mirrored design, and a longing to search out a counterpart. Now that we've mapped the starlit origins of the Drytrons, we descend into the celestial phenomena that shape their battlefield. The Drytron spells and traps represent the power of space itself. Eclipses swallow stars, novas burst to life, and meteor showers fall from the heavens like divine judgment. In Drytron Eclipse, Alpha Thuban drifts before a blacked-out star. The star in its tail now glows a deep pink, a visual echo of the chromosphere that flares during a total eclipse. But while an eclipse captures awe-inspiring stillness, a nova erupts with fury. The serpent doesn't just linger in shadow, it fights its way back to brilliance. Drytron Nova references a real astronomical event, where a star surges in brightness for a moment before fading to its original state. This is captured perfectly in the artwork, depicting Beta Rastaban flashing a brilliant glow, and according to the lore, a Drytron's power is tied to how brightly it shines. Rastaban's power surges, setting the cosmic stage for the arrival of a greater being. When the new dragon emerges from the void, it brings with it a cascade of starlight raining down in a fiery ballet. The artwork of Drytron Meteor Shower makes a clever interpretation of this phenomenon. Here, we watch as Meteonis Draconids unleashes a volley of blasts, mimicking a meteor shower. This is significant. The ritual monster is named after a recurring storm that appears to originate from the head of the serpent, just as this barrage originates from our own great serpent. And as the meteors fall to Earth, what they leave behind are millions of asterisms, the silent witnesses to stellar chaos. An asterism is a popularly known pattern or group of stars that can be seen in the night sky, similar to a constellation. In the artwork of Drytron Asterism, we see Zeta Aldheba intercepting a laser with its shield, while Alpha Thuban and Beta Rastaban fly behind it. This is the only speller trap besides Fafnir to feature multiple Drytrons, creating an asterism of their own. It also calls back to Aldheba's shift from foe to friend, as it leaps into harm's way to protect its fellow Drytrons. Drytron Fafnir, however, tells a different story. This card is one of the few given extra lore in the valuable book. A supermassive battleship that serves as the Drytron base. In the event of an emergency, it transforms from battleship form to dragon form to wipe out the enemy forces. In the art, we get a shot of the base flanked by Zeta, Alpha, and Gamma units, orbiting like satellites. This hints at Fafnir's uniqueness among field spells. It has a monster counterpart. Mu Beta Fafnir, its evolved form, alludes to the Norse legend of Fafnir, a dwarf transformed into a dragon by the effects of its ill-gotten cursed treasure. That transformation is replicated here, as the card shifts from idle space station to massive dragon armed for war. Interestingly, the star we now call Fafnir was unnamed until 2015. Before that, it was simply known as 42 Draconis. The Mu Beta in the name refers to 42 in the Greek numeral system. Mu Beta is a 5th magnitude K-type giant in Draco, with a radius 22 times that of the Sun. This star even has a planet orbiting it, Orbitar. Though Orbitar may lack mythic flair, Konami still honored its place in the cosmos. Together, these cards reflect both the immense presence of 42 Draconis and the legendary metamorphosis of Fafnir from dwarf to dragon. But not all stars remain still. Some fall. Some crash. While the base Drytrons reflect stars fixed in the night sky, their ritual forms embody something far more volatile. Meteors, streaking brilliance followed by devastating impact. Their lore describes them not just as machines, but as dragons born from resonance. Top-class giant dragons called forth by amplifying the cores of the lower-ranked Drytrons and having them resonate together. There's a pair of them. One, a super heavy armed titan. The other, a massive celestial colossus. The first is Meteonis Draconids, named for the October Draconids, a meteor storm near Draco's head. Like the constellation it erupts from, this shower is unpredictable. Quiet for decades, then suddenly brilliant. The card mirrors that eruption, a machine surging with energy, cloaked in a swirl of falling stars. Meteonis Quadrantids continues this pattern, this time named for the January Quadrantids. The meteors in the background are no longer sweeping arcs, but sharp, direct strikes, pinpricks of divine will hurtling towards the earth. Then comes Meteonis DA Draconids, an evolved form and a nod to the recently discovered December Alpha Draconids. Like its predecessor, it emerges from a swirling sea of meteors. But now, Draconids has acquired even greater weapons, ascending among the strongest monsters in the game. These three are meteors made manifest, rituals of impact. The moment starlight becomes fire. So too do the ritual spells emphasize this transition. Meteonis Drytron shows Draconids descending in a storm of color, an aurora shimmering in the void, suggesting the ritual's purpose. Two stars combining their light to bring a new force into being. In Meteoroa Drytron, we see DA Draconids suspended before an eclipse. Here too an aurora flares, alerting the universe to its arrival. In the backgrounds of both cards, Draco appears, no longer fragmented, but whole, reminding us that every Drytron, no matter how evolved, still draws power from the ancient serpent. Though the ritual monsters roar with the serpent's legacy, Draco is not the end of the map. Beyond its coils lies another celestial current, a greater convergence, one that pulls the Drytrons into the orbit of another cosmic force, the Earth's Arctics. And in that meeting, something new is born. Ultimate Bright Knight Ursitron Alpha is a fusion, not just of monsters, but of mythologies. At its core stands Alpha Thuban, the guiding star of ancient navigators, now clad in the armor of Earth's Arctic Septentrion. Septentrion, Latin for 7 oxen, is an ancient name for the Big Dipper, one of our oldest celestial guides. In Earth's Arctic Septentrion, that symbolism becomes physical. Its blade bears 7 radiant facets, one for each star in the constellation. But in Ursitron Alpha, the blade evolves. 7 facets become 9, honoring both Septentrion and the binary stars of Thuban. What began as tribute becomes transformation. Constellations not merely aligning, but merging. It's a fitting metaphor for the Drytron archetype itself. The deck begins with stars, moves through meteors, and ends with fusion, a celestial life cycle told in cards. Ursitron is both an endpoint and a new beginning. A mechanical serpent forged from the light, carrying the combined legacies of 2 constellations on its back. In Ursitron Alpha, myth and machine merge, an apex of celestial design. When we look into the night sky and gaze at the pinpricks of light above, we don't just see stars. We see memories that echo through eternity. Stories of stars made myth, and now myth made machine. It's the Drytron's destiny not merely to shine, but to become legend.